So, good evening, everyone. On behalf of CricKingdom, it is my immense pleasure to welcome you to today's webinar. My name is Simranjeet Kaur Juneja, and I am honored to be your host for this evening. Once again, welcome everyone to CricKingdom, the pioneering platform that revolutionizes the cricketing landscape. As the world's first and foremost cricket ecosystem, CricKingdom seamlessly connects cricket enthusiasts, players, coaches, students, academies, and facilities, fostering an integrated community driven by engagement and interaction. Innovative ecosystem eliminates existing disconnects and inefficiencies while also ensuring that every user's experience is not only productive but also delightful. At CricKingdom, we are committed to enhance the cricketing experience while also ensuring to provide a better facility to our stakeholders and to give you a small glimpse of that what's going on with CricKingdom currently. We have our very own vice president looking after the global expansions and strategic partnerships, Mr. Parag Dahiwal, who is set to drive our business to USA. So, Mr. Parag, I welcome you and would encourage you to share a few words with us.
Sure. Yeah. Hello, everyone. Thanks, first of all, for joining. Thank you, Dave, so much for your time as well. So, for people who don't know, CricKingdom was started in 2018, and in the last 5 years, this is the sixth year, to be honest. And in the last 5+ years, we have expanded in more than 6 countries, starting with Singapore, then India, then we started in Japan, then Bangladesh, USA, and Indonesia. So right now we have more than 40 centers which are active, and I'll be relocating to the US this weekend. I'll be based out of San Francisco, and the plan is to launch at least 3 academies in the next 1 year or so. So following by after San Francisco, it will be in Dallas, where Rohit is coming himself to launch the academy on the 13th and 14th of July. Post that, we'll be launching around October timeframe in Austin, and yeah, I mean, it's going to be a great platform for all the coaches and players across the globe, to be honest. Reason being, we are trying to certify and train the coaches with a certain mechanism and the platform that we have, and whoever are associated with us in whatever capacity as coaches, we make sure we groom them, we give them enough opportunities, and then once they are ready to have overseas opportunities, we make sure that we place them. So far we have placed 4 coaches overseas from CricKingdom India, and they are really doing a great job. And this number is going to grow 2 to 3 folds in the next 2 to 3 years because there are a couple of more countries that we are currently in discussion with where we are willing to start the CricKingdom operations. So yeah, it's going to be a global platform, and yes, as Simran rightly said, we are going to revolutionizing the way the cricket is played and coached going forward. So thank you everyone for joining, and see you soon.
Thank you, Mr. Parag, for sharing few words with us. And yes, definitely join us in shaping the future of cricket with CricKingdom, where passion meets innovation and where every cricketing dreams find its rightful place. Being said that, I also invite our host of the evening, Mr. Zahir Sheikh, who is our current Director of Cricket Operations at Indonesia. So, hello, Mr. Zahir. I'll let you take over the lead.
Thank you for the introduction, Simran. So here I am hosting today's tete-a-tete with Dav Whatmore with us. So today's webinar will basically focus on 2 crucial technical aspects of cricket that can be significantly enhance your performance on the field. So one aspect that we are looking at today is batting, where we would be looking at how do we master the cross-batted shots. And the second one would be the other area of bowling, where how do we enhance a spinner's bowling techniques. So going on to our first segment, which will delve into the art of mastering the cross-batted shot. This technique is not only fundamental for scoring boundaries, but also essential for maneuvering the ball through tight field placements. We will explore various types of cross-batted shots, which includes the cut, the pull, the sweep, and then provide practical tips to help you execute them with a lot of precision and confidence. In the second segment, we will then turn our attention to the art of spin bowling. Spin bowling is a craft that requires a combination of skill, strategy, and subtlety. We will discuss advanced techniques to enhance your spin bowling skills, focusing on the grip, the wrist positions, and the different types of spin deliveries. Whether you are an aspiring spinner or looking to refine your existing skills, this session promises to offer invaluable knowledge to elevate your game. Now, I would like to introduce Dave Whatmore, who is with us currently. So I'm honored to introduce Mr. Dave Whatmore, a distinguished figure in the cricketing world. To know more about Dave's journey in cricket, it spans both as a player and as a coach, each marked by excellence and a lot of impact. Starting as a player, Dave represented with distinction with the country of Australia first, and he demonstrated his skills and talent as a batsman. However, it is his remarkable coaching career that has truly distinguished him in the annals of cricket history. Famed for his coaching tenure, Dave led the Sri Lankan national cricket team to the historic World Cup victory in 1996, a moment that reshaped the narrative of Sri Lankan cricket and also reshaped the way one day cricket was eventually played thereafter. Through coaching assignments across nations like Bangladesh, Pakistan, and Zimbabwe, Dave has earned global acclaim for his strategic prowess and talent development acumen. Beyond his coaching achievements, Dave's commitment to nurturing young cricketing talent remains unwavering, reflecting his enduring passion for the game. Please join me in extending a warm welcome to Mr. Dave Whatmore. Now, there are certain rules of engagement which I would like to take you through before we begin with the session. So throughout the session, please feel free to use the chat function to submit your queries, and we will address them during the question and answer segment right at the end. Without further ado, let us begin our journey into the technical intricacies of cricket. Sit back, take note, and most importantly, enjoy the learning experience. Thank you for joining us today, and here we are getting started. So over to you, Dave. The first question that obviously as a cricketer comes to my mind is, what are the key elements that a batsman needs to focus on when he is playing a cross-batted shot? Over to you, Dave.
Okay. Can I say just a very quick minute as an overview that I would like batsmen or your people out there to begin to think about batting as making correct decisions. So we as batsmen, it's a read and react game. So we see the ball and we're going to make a decision. Whether it's an attacking shot, and we're going to talk about these horizontal bat shots, scoring shots, or if it's a defense, or if you may need to evade it. So you need to think about approaching your batting as making decisions. And what I like about the CricKingdom philosophy is that there's more and more about teaching, how to improve your performance. And certainly from a batting point of view, I would like everybody to consider this, making more correct decisions. I guarantee you, if you can make more correct decisions, you're going to be making more runs. So, individually, you'll be better, and the team will also benefit greatly by improving performance. So that's as a way of an overview to what we're going to talk about in this segment. Right now with the crossbat shots, we'll see how we go. I'm planning to talk a little bit about the cut shot, square cut, pull shot, hook shot. If we've got a bit of time, we do the sweep. If not, that's no problem. We can cover that later, and then we do some spin bowling as you suggested, Zahir. Okay. So having said that overview, we can get onto it. Okay.
Yeah, so to begin with, what are the common mistakes generally that a batsman makes while playing the cross-batted shot, and what are the corrective measures that can be taken as a coach?
Okay, I think first of all we need to understand the mechanics of it. And I tell you what, a really good exercise, either as a coach or as a player, if you write down in the sequential movements of a particular shot, that'll make you think. It'll make you think as a player, it'll make you think as a coach in terms of understanding the sequential movement patterns that if you do it correctly, it will give you a better output, a better shot, in other words. So I think we need to just look at it very carefully to understand this. And the cut shot is played obviously to a short ball. It's not a full length ball or a good length ball. It's a shortish delivery, and it's coming outside the off stump or roundabout just outside the off. So you're required now to make a decision. You watch the ball, you think, right, I'm going to play a cut shot. And cut shots, by the way, are heavy scoring shots. You know, it really played properly can give you a boundary four. And that's what we really need you to do, to play it correctly and get those 4 runs up against the scoreboard. So it's played. I don't want to miss this. I'm going to read out a couple of things here so I don't miss it. And so we understand, okay? So it's short, it's coming just outside the off stump. So if step is taken backwards, a little bit towards the off stump, or just outside the off stump, the back foot then stabilizes. It's bent a little bit, it's flexed, in other words, and it stabilizes. The back foot also can be parallel to the popping crease or the batting crease. Not necessary, but it can be. Ideally, it would be better if it is parallel. And the weight is transferred onto it. So all your weight now is on that right. I'm assuming you're a right-hander, okay? So the right foot goes back and a little bit to the off stump. The knee's bent a little bit. Therefore, the weight is transferred over. But like anything else in cricket, anything else, it is never on the heels of that foot. It is always on the ball of the foot. So there you go. You've stepped, you bent the knee a little bit. The weight is on the ball of the foot. And the hands then move up, and the elbow moves up to a point where you anticipate the height of the ball coming through. Perhaps a little bit above the anticipated height. So the hands are nice and high, ready to go. The shoulders are rotated. So that left shoulder, as a right-hand batter, is pointing now towards that point area where you want to hit the ball. So that is now rotated across. The wrists are open, or if you'd like to use the word cocked, you can use the word cocked, but it's open and ready to come down. As the ball is reaching you towards your back foot, that's when you unload. That's when you rotate the shoulders and you rotate the wrists towards the ball, and contact is made, hitting the ball not straight down to the ground, because all the energy then will be sucked up by the ball hitting the ground and it won't go very far. And neither do you want it to hit a little more in the air, like, you know, horizontal or just under it. You could result in a catch. So it's more or less horizontal, but just a little bit above. So you get maximum velocity off the bat on impact. 2 things, very important, 2 things. It is played with full extension of the arm. Please try not to bend the elbow on impact. Extension of the arm. So it's a full arm's length with the bat on the end of the handle on the end of it, and then the bat itself, and you get a much better line of arc onto impact. That's one very important thing. The other one, just as important, is your front leg. Nobody talks about that very much. So all the action for me now is on the right-hand side of my body. I'm a right-hander. The ball's short, it's coming outside the off. Away I go, I've taken a step, very good. My hands are up, my shoulders are rotated. What happens to the left side of my body? Not many people understand that. To execute the shot properly, there must be some movement on the opposite side to counterbalance all the energy that's happening on the right-hand side of your body. So therefore, that left leg must have some movement, whether it's up in the air or whether it's drawn back a little bit to your right leg or whatever it is, must be some movement. And then you will connect the ball much, much better. So that is something I've found that is not given enough importance. And I can tell you a quick story. When I was playing shield cricket in Western Australia at the Wacker, very fast wicket. This was a leg spinner bowling, a guy called Tony Mann. And he bowled 3 deliveries to me short outside the arms. Easy cut shots, very easy. And I hit it so hard, I nearly swung myself off balance and it went nowhere. All 3. In fact, the third shot, I nearly scooped it up. And I wasn't in a position to self-correct. And what I was doing was all the energy on my right side, nothing happened on my left side. And no matter how hard I hit the ball, it just did not give me the right output for all the energy I was doing. I wish I'd known a little bit more of the technique and the sequence movements of a cut shot. In my situation, then it would have helped me to become a better player. Sure, I scored runs, but understanding these things, it is so much better for you as a player and as a coach to ensure that your performances are better. So there you are. The bat accelerates down horizontally, not straight down, not up, not under it, and it's played with the arms extended, and the wrists naturally roll over and the ball stays down. You need to guard against the ball going up in the air. So if you hit the ball correctly, just above the horizontal, the wrist will take over naturally and it will have a good effect. So, that is such a good shot to play, such a wonderful heavy scoring shot that, if you get an opportunity, that's your attacking option. Oh, you can always leave it, but you need to take that attacking option and take full advantage of the ball that's coming along, that needs to be put away and give yourself an extra 4 runs on the scoreboard. So, that is the cut shot, which I think is very, very important. And a lot of people play it, and a lot of people play it pretty well. You've seen it shot on TV. Don't forget, please do not forget that the part that the front leg plays in the execution of the cut shot. Just very quickly, if I can tell you why, we're built in exactly 2 halves. If I was cut in half right down the middle with a chainsaw, I would fall in 2 equal parts. So we are symmetrical. That's what I'm trying to get at. We are symmetrical. Anything I do or we do with one side of our body, to be balanced, something has to happen on the other side. And there it is. So that's a little bit of biomechanics coming into it as well. That's the cut shot. So, I hope we are a little more improved in the understanding of the sequence of events that go into performing a good cut shot. In that case, it's the square cut. All right. Shall we turn our attention to the pull shot? Now, the pull shot to me, I found it really easy. I love that pull shot. In fact, I was so good on the back foot that I struggled to play shots on the front foot. So if they didn't bowl short to me, I found it difficult to have a shot. But so I was really happy that when they bowled short. No helmets too in those days, so they wanted to knock your head off. Okay, so the cut shot of the pull shot is
American English.
a wonderful way of again maximizing
American English.
that shot, either four or
America one
whoever's got the mic on, I think, turn that mic off. Okay, this is another attacking horizontal stroke, and it's played. It can either be played to a full toss. Pull shot is another wonderful horizontal bat shot that it can give you a maximum 6 or a boundary 4 if you play it correctly. And as I was saying before, maybe you didn't hear it. To me, that shot was an easy one. But what people find difficult about that shot is because it's coming on towards your body, then they feel a little bit sort of uneasy that they may get hit. And yes, you may get hit, but to play it correctly, you need to get your body right behind the line of the ball. And like any shot in cricket, the place where you've got to avoid is moving to the leg side. Right? You've got 3 stumps that you're standing in front of. So the ball or the bowler generally is aiming for those stumps, right? So you need to protect that. So in order to get into the best position to be able to execute the crossbat shots, cut shot, or a pull shot, or a hook shot, which we'll get into in a minute, is getting behind the line of the ball. And that takes a little bit of courage, I have to say, because sometimes you're facing a bowler that's got a lot of speed, and that can test your ability to be comfortable against fast bowling. But if you can execute that shot correctly, there's nothing better than to see a ball fly off the bat properly against a fast bowler. Against medium pace and spin, okay, we can play that shot well without too much of fear. But against real pace, my goodness, if you can do that correctly, then there's nothing like it. And you get 4 runs nearly all the time for it. You can even go for a maximum 6. So let's have a look at this. This is another ball that's short. It's not full. It can be a full toss, though. You can pull a ball that's a full toss. But we're generally playing this shot to a shorter pitch delivery. And it's coming round about the leg stump, middle and leg, or the leg stump. So there we are. It's a decisive step back again. But now, in contrast to the cut shot, which was played to the offside, and you're now sort of your back foot is parallel with the batting crease. Now your back foot is very much open and looking straight down the pitch. If you take a step back and you point that back foot right back down the pitch to the bowler, automatically your hips are open, shoulders are open. And that's the place that you need to be. Very difficult to play side on with the pull shot. So there you go. You take a step back and your back foot points down the pitch, so you are opening up. The front leg withdraws to the leg side as the back foot pivots. The main thing with this shot, boys and girls, the main thing with this shot is it's a rotation. It's a spinning movement. It's a swiveling on your feet like an ice skater doing round. So with spikes on and turf, and you execute the pull shot correctly, you can see a nice round mark on the ground where your spikes have made on that pitch if you played it correctly. So it's a swivel. So there you go. You're stepping back. You're looking straight down the pitch. Hips are open. Shoulders are open. And the ball's coming. It's coming towards your body. So please give yourself that ability to, understand you're going to hit it. You're not going to get hit because you are right behind the line. It's when you're not behind the line of the ball you have a better chance of the ball hitting you. We don't want that because that hurts. So the bat has been taken back up. You've stepped. The bat is taken again above what you think is the anticipated height of the ball coming to you. A little bit above that, just like the cut shot. So the bat is high, the hands are high, and then because you're open your body down the pitch, you then spin. You spin with your lower legs, your lower part of your body rather, and the main coaching point here, apart from the spinning, is the extension of your elbow. It must be extended. Very hard to play it with a bent elbow, just like the cut shot. It can be done. I know that some really smart people say David Gow played it really well with a bent elbow, and he did. Ain't too many though, But the really good ones you'll see are playing it with an extension of the arm, and it's a spinning motion. So then let's think about it. You've stepped back. The hands go high above that anticipated height of the ball. The front foot, it also has a role to play, just like the cut shot. It withdraws closer to your back foot. So therefore, you're a little bit more linear now. You're not, open up this way. Sure, you're pointing down the pitch, but on playing the shot, the front foot withdraws to the back leg. So you're a lot more linear. That allows that spinning motion to come into effect with an extended arm. And that's a magnificent shot to play, I tell you, because hit correctly, it's nothing better. And as I said, I found that easy. And some may not find it easy, but a little bit of practice will enable you to play that shot correctly. One thing you guard against, please understand, if the ball is coming wider outside the leg stump, it's very hard to control it because you're not behind the line of the ball. What will happen, just like the hook shot, you can't control it. The ball can brush your gloves. It can take an edge of the back of your bat, and you won't be in control. But the pull shot can be played anywhere from straight back past the ball. Yeah, it can be. That's a scoring area of the pull shot, all the way around to behind square. So when you become proficient at it, you can hit the ball in a huge quadrant on the leg side. And generally, you'll find that there is some protection there. So if you're good enough to clear the boundary, regardless of the protection, go for it. Hit it hard. Hit it over the top of that player. If there's no protection there, even if you hit it in the air, you miss it, then you're going to be okay. But be wary. Be a smart cricketer. Know where that field is. Think. Okay? I'm really keen, what I said right at the beginning, that you make a correct decision. And this shot requires you to play it against a ball that is short of a length, that's coming around about the leg stump. That is watching the ball and making a correct decision. And go for it. Just go for it. Don't be half-hearted. You've got to give full effort towards it. Hook shot done. I mean, the pull shot done. The hook shot is very similar to the pull shot, except now the ball is coming a little higher. We talk about playing cut shot and pull shot generally between knee height and chest height, between knee and chest. Okay? The hook shot is played to a ball that's a little higher than that. Let's say between chest and the top of your head, which makes it harder to play simply because of its height. If it's coming any higher, very, very dangerous to play that shot. So this shot can be executed correctly, but it needs to be done likely inside the line of the ball. So therefore, if you miss it, you're not going to get hit because it's around that head area. It's a very important area. Whereas the pull shot, if you miss it, you might get knocked around a little bit in the chest. That's okay. But the hook shot is coming a little bit higher. So it's slightly more inside the line to give yourself that extra protection of if you miss it, you won't get hurt. You won't be hit yourself. So the hook shot, scoring shot is where? The area behind square leg. So all that quadrant between square leg and the keeper is your area for the hook shot. So be careful. Most times there'll be protection out there with a fine leg. Ensure that that ball is kept down and you'll be okay. Again, the same principle, extension of the arms, the high hands, a little bit higher now because it's coming, between chest and your head, and you swivel, you spin, and you play it with a full extension of your arm. One thing I've just reminded myself of, going right back to that horizontal bat shot, the square cut, if it's not bouncing, if it's bouncing less or lower than your knee, big alarm bells. Playing on turf and it's not bouncing, big alarm bells. You need to be seriously considering not playing it, because what happens is that many times you get an inside edge and it goes on your stump. Now, there's a really good little tip for you. Please play the hook, the pull and the cut and the hook, no problem. But with the cut shot, if it's not bouncing, it's a problem. And you need to understand why. And that's inside edge, one of the stumps, and it happens so often. And if you're really an avid watcher and you see it on TV, hopefully it hasn't happened to you personally, then you'll know to be a little bit wary of it if it's not bouncing. Same with the pull shot. If it's not bouncing, it's a very risky shot to play because you could be hit on the pads. Umpire just might get a little nervous and put his finger up. We don't want that. It comes back down to that, my overview, being able to make a correct decision. If you make the correct decision, boys and girls, I guarantee you'll get more runs. One little tip in getting that right decision, watch the ball. We all understand, we have eyes, we watch it, but the ones, the innings that you play well, I bet my bottom dollar, the reason of that is you're seeing that ball a touch earlier. And when you're seeing that ball a touch earlier, that enables you to make a fraction of a second longer to make that decision. So there you go. Cut shot, pull shot, and the hook shot. It's now 6:35. I think we'll look at that sweep shot a little bit later, possibly. We can move on to the spin area. How's that going? Is people understand? Is that making sense to you?
Yes, it definitely does, Dave. That was real good insight into both the cut and the pull. So, Dave, just a quick thing on the cut and the pull is that earlier, when probably a decade or 2 decades back, we were taught to roll our wrists for the cut as well as for the pull. But right now, with the advent of T20 cricket, what we are seeing is the batsmen are hitting sixers over point, and the way our own hitman does it, right? He goes underneath the ball and he tries to hit it as high as possible. So the rolling of the wrist is not any longer there, looking at the way the T20 is played. So I would want to have your views on that as well.
Yeah, that's fine. Look, what I should preface also by saying what we're talking about is the most efficient way to play this shot. With the advent of this format, clearly there are a number of parts of technique which are coming into question, and that quite rightly is one of them. But I'll bet you, if you ask Rohit Sharma, who is our brand ambassador, what he did when he first started, he wouldn't have done that. He's a very good cutter of the ball. And like a number of other T20 players now, where the requirement is, to really maximise that first 6 overs and the power play, then these sorts of shots come into play, have been sort of created really well. So sixes are hit. You are coming underneath and just really clubbing the ball as hard as you can. Bats also have become, lighter, but becoming thicker. And it really is, weighted heavily to the batsman. And they, they've taken technique to a different level, and it opens up questions like you just did. We are talking very much on the conventional way of playing the shot. When it's done proficiently, then I think no problem. Go ahead and experiment and hit that ball over the top of six in that first 6 over, even later in the 20 over game. Generally, what I've seen is outfield's a little bit shorter. The boundary rope's a little bit shorter. The distance is shorter. Outfields are really quick, and sometimes even a mishit, can go for a boundary. So yes, that is part of it. And as a coach, that's a challenge a coach will have, to make that decision with an individual. Should we now look upon that individual in getting him to play that cut shot that goes for six or not?
So just to sum it up, Dave, one is the flexing of the knees. It plays a very important part while you cut and while you try to get underneath the ball. So something what Surya Kumar Yadav does, the balls which are even there on the thigh pad, he tries to get low on his knees and then just push it above fine leg is what he generally does. So that's something new that is coming up with the way the T20 is shaping up the game. And also, like you rightly said, that extension of the arms is the most important part, whether you're cutting or whether you're pulling. So it's actually at 90 degrees from where the ball is actually coming at you. So it's either at 90 degrees towards the point, or it's either right in front of your face while you swivel. So the best swivel that I remember is of Ricky Ponting, who was the best amongst that era for the pull, wherein he used to actually control the ball, where he used to keep it down when there was the fielder on the boundary, and then go underneath the ball when the fielder was pulled in. So that's something that I recollect. And again, Sehwag was a very good cutter of the ball. So he used to actually play with the field, wherein if the point is really square, he used to cut it late, and if it is towards gully, then he used to cut it a bit early. Right. So those techniques also come into picture. So Dave, that was really, really great. And we now move on to the bowling part. So I definitely believe we have a lot of spinners waiting to have their share of knowledge from you. So the first and foremost question that comes to my mind is, looking at the shortest format of the game, people are following that much, right? So how can a spin bowler effectively disguise his variations to deceive the batsman is the basic thing, because we are looking at probably 60-70 runs being scored of 4 overs. So that's what this IPL has brought us to. So it is getting scarier and scarier. So anybody who aspires to become a bowler really needs to have a very, very big heart. And especially being a spinner in the conditions that we currently have, shorter boundaries, bigger bats, lighter bats, and the tech and flatter wickets to face with. Yes, Dave.
Oh, no, that is a scary thought, isn't it? When you're looking at that level, and I'm hoping that spinners watching the T20 IPL edition just recently, nearly finished anyway, seeing some incredibly big scores. Don't get too frightened, because it's not always going to be that way. The pitches will dictate everything. The conditions of a surface will definitely dictate the way in which a batsman approaches his batting and their batting, and that will then determine the sort of totals that we've seen happen, particularly with this playing condition of an extra batsman or an extra bowler impact player, they call it, that will help in many cases, the totals well in excess of 200 runs, and sometimes 200 runs is not safe. Teams chase that down. But I'm particularly keen that the budding spinners have a real idea of nailing down their stock delivery. And to nail down the stock delivery, have an understanding of what you need to do to do that. And it's a wonderful art of bowling the spinners. I mean, it's a real trickery, because spin bowling can really test a batsman's judgment, his patience. And it's something that's really, I love watching. I mean, I love spinners. I love to face spinners, particularly when it's not turning. And in Australia, where I played my cricket, it was a pretty easy thing to do. Use your feet, get to the pitch. If not, come back, change the length, and you can still score from it. Playing spin in India can be extremely difficult as a batsman. When I played my test matches here in India, boy, I had no idea. And I'm being very honest and very truthful that, such a good player of spin in Australia coming into Indian conditions and struggle. There's definitely a technique to play it. And if a good spinner is able to pin that batsman down, really test his patience, have the catches in the right spot, understand where to leave the gap, moving a little bit more from what I wanted to cover, but that is all part of it to become a good spinner. And don't get too, disheartened with what we've been seeing on television recently. Off spin, leg spin, have your variations, and that certainly will be beneficial to improving your performance. So there you are. I mean, let's look at the off spin first. There are some who have unorthodox grips, and they've been successful. So no problem. I think it's, again, up to the coach, and that's a challenge for the coach to try and enhance it or change it. If the spinner is having good performances with it, good effect with it, then I would tend to keep it going. So unorthodox grips have been successful and can automatically be, poo-pooed. Some players have bowled doosra legally, which is a good thing. Most struggle because they extend the elbow more than the 15 degrees, the permissible 15 degrees, so you want to be a little bit careful of that. But that's also a variation, and if you can bowl it, it is an unbelievable variation. But we're talking more or less now about the clock ball. Okay. Slow bowlers who spin the ball hard will also create drift, and the captain must also, captain and the bowler must also be mindful of whatever wind there is on the ground to maximize your particular skill, whether you're off spinner or leg spinner, bowl from the right end, because that will assist when the ball rotates, drift. And when the ball drifts, it moves in the air. So you need to be a little bit careful about that too, which end to bowl from. I'd say junior bowlers should be encouraged to carry a cricket ball. How often can we see that? Carry a cricket ball and spin it from one hand to the other. The more you can do that, the more spinners, generally anyway, they love to do it. They just always like to bowl a lot and also carry a ball and keep playing with it with your hands. Nothing wrong in that as well. So here we go. Let's look at this. I don't want to miss this because, again, if you want to learn this, teach yourself, talk to yourself, or talk to somebody and explain how you bowl it. That is the best way to understand the sequence of events that happen to execute properly. So the grip. Now, the grip is firm, but it's not relaxed, right? It's firm. It's not too hard. It's not chucked right in the palm of your hand, but it's firm and relaxed. The ball rests at the base of the fingers. All right. With the joints of the index and the middle finger. So it's the index and the middle finger. I wish I had a ball with me. I'm sorry. That would be spread around the seam, and the thumb just rests very lightly on it. So, and the reason you do that is that when that ball is rotated, that index finger does all the work. So the rough side of the ball also maybe inside become touching the inside of your palm to give you extra purchase. So there you go. The fingers are spread as wide and comfortable across the seam, which rests on the thumb. So the thumb underneath, and the index and the thumb and the middle finger are spread as wide as it's comfortable for you to do that. That's the grip. Approach. It's a short, direct approach that you build momentum. Even though you're a spin bowler, you still need some momentum in your run-up. So it's a short run-up, but it's still designed to build momentum. It's also designed for rhythm and balance at delivery. So it's very difficult to sort of walk up there and bowl. You still need to build up in a little bit of momentum toward it. The ball should be delivered preferably from a side-on position, relatively close to the stumps. It is these days, it is acceptable, particularly if you're watching Ravi Chandran Ashwin. His back foot is not parallel to the bowling crease. His back foot is a little bit more down the pitch or 45 degrees. So these days it is acceptable. What is important is that you are accurate and you repeat a good ball. So your back foot, I'm saying, can be side on, but it can also be in other angles as well. All right? When that back foot lands, it's very difficult to execute if you're looking way over open shoulder. Some can do it, but we're talking about doing it as correctly as you possibly can before you can do your own individual way of executing once you've got this correctly. So back foot, either way, it's up to you, but the front arm, try not to open it up too much. Keep it a little bit closer. You either look just inside or just over the shoulder. Your choice, but that is important as well. Okay, now the front foot generally is a short delivery stride for off-spin bowlers. Why? Because it allows you to come over the top. And don't forget, we want that drift and dip. So if you have a shorter delivery stride, then it's easier for you to come over the top. And you'll find that your front knee, front foot, your front knee will remain braced. In other words, it's not bent. So it gives you maximum height and it allows you to come over the top and bowl to the target. All right? All right. I was going to say also, ideally, the front foot lands, we call it a line to the back foot, but it's in a straight line towards the back foot. But again, people will say, hey, Dad, hey, coach, I've seen a lot of off-spinners now who throw that foot on the other side of the back foot. So you are coming and bowling with an angle of bowling around your front foot. Well, okay, please experiment with it. No problem. But understand that what we're trying to do for you guys is to be as accurate as possible and repeat that delivery. So now that's the lower part. When the bowling arm comes up, we want it to be as high as possible. It can vary. You can have a variation of a lower arm, bowling arm, but if you come, we're talking about your stock ball coming as high as you possibly can and vigorously turning that ball clockwise will give you the ability to rotate the ball many times as it travels down the pitch to the target, which is the batsman. And if you're able to come over the top a bit more, you can get a little bit of dip because batsmen can tell you, get lazy. I love spinners. The ball's thrown up and I track the ball up. But the ball comes down, and as batsmen, sometimes we get lazy. We don't track it down all the time, and it becomes a shot, maybe a drive, because we're not bowling, we're bowling up, it's dipping, and the batsman thinks, oh, beauty. This is a half volley. But the ball dips, and we haven't tracked it down properly, and it ends up not being a half volley. And I'll give you a very quick story. And the only time I face Shane Warne was in Melbourne in a senior club game. He was coming up the rank and I was finishing off my career. I'm an opening batsman, so therefore, when I'm facing a spinner, I've got a few runs. From memory, it was around about 40 runs. I was batting really well on a pitch that wasn't turning. Warney comes on. Mind you, he's coming up in his career. So the first 3 deliveries were defended, pushed, dot balls. And I think it was the 4th, maybe the 5th, he gave it a bit more air. And I tracked that up. No problem. That is the half volley, I said to myself. And I come down and I hit it the most sweetest possible way I could have. I was in form. I was seeing it well. I hit it really well. One of the best on drives that I've played, except it ended up waist high to mid-on, out court. And what happened was he got tremendous drift. That's okay, I've tracked it, but it dipped on me. And that half volley length that I thought it was, I was just short of it. So, you know, I still played the shot because I was fooled into it, and it ended up being hit in the air, straight to mid-on, out. 40 runs, and I got a start and got out, and I was pretty upset. But there it is. You've got to be able to take the odd 4 as well as spinners. But it's a little bit of a risk and reward. So get that ball turning, get that ball drifting. If you with a right arm off spinner, it'll drift from right to left and hopefully spin back. A leg spinner will go the other way, or left arm orthodox will drift from left to right and spin away. So, you know, there is the reason why you must get the ball up in the air and turn it so as hard as you can to get those revolutions as it travels down. There you go. That's the off spin bowling. Variations. Well, the variation to the off spin is the top spin, which I found really hard to bowl. The top spinner is with that back of your hand facing mid-on, and it's rotated in that direction. Very difficult to do, but if you can, the effect that it has, it dips and it goes on straight. Sometimes a little bit faster, and that can be a way of getting a wicket also. The other variation to that is the arm ball, an arm ball that just leaves the batsman. The drift is there as a normal spinner, but now the arm ball is taking the shape of drifting, but it continues on. And if you can have that as a variation, that is also a very good delivery, particularly the left-handers too. It could result in an LBW or a bowl. Wow, we're getting close to 7 o'clock, but you know, we only just touched the off spin. I hope that that's understood. Is that here?
Yes, very much, Dave. That was absolutely a masterclass delivered online to us, and that was something really learning that we got. So just to sum up the art of spin bowling, since I am also a left arm spinner. So what you said is that first is the gather, then the jump, and at the jump you're either looking out of the window or you're looking out of the door, just inside the window or just outside.
Yes.
So that is one. 2 is the wrist position. So either your wrist is cocked, and then you turn the way you want the actual ball to go to the batsman. So the wrist, and then the wrist position can also be to something like this, where the ball goes like an undercutter. So that is one
horizontal. Yeah.
Absolutely. And then another point that you covered is that generally as a spinner, what I feel is that the moment the ball goes above the eye level of the batsman is when the front shoulder goes up. And that is where I create a chance of him mishitting me. Because in the earlier days, when we used to play cricket, probably 15, 20 years back, there was a lot of loop which was given to the delivery. Currently, with the advent of T20, there is no loop. There are a lot of flatter trajectories. So the batsman gets used to seeing the ball come directly from the hand of the bowler to the wicket. And the moment there is something which is going above eye level is when the batsman is probably gets foxed. So that is what Shane Warne did. That is what in the current crop I see the Chahals and the Ravi Ashwins doing, wherein they try and toss up the ball, invite the batsman, and that is where the batsman loses shape. So that's something which the youngsters need to pick up on, because what I have been also seeing is that there are a lot of flatter trajectories being bowled, and the art of spin bowling is when you actually churn it out. You actually, it's like you peeling a lemon. So that art is no longer there. So we need to get them to understand why turning the ball. So if you see the Nathan Lyons today, they're still doing what the Sucklanes did, right? And Sucklane also used the depth of the crease and the width of the crease to his thing. So there are these legendary spinners whom if we follow back now it's only YouTube that we get to see their videos, but that is where coaches like us and young spinners like us can fall back on to learn what arc means, what drift means, and how they used to use the depth of the crease. There were times when I had seen Sucklane bowling right next to the umpire. So in that case, the ball used to float probably a fraction of a second more and used to take more time to reach the batsman, and the batsman was already into his stroke. So all in all, I believe with the way you conducted this masterclass of online bowling, we would really be happy to have you on ground and do it practically with you. I'm sure the entire audience was stuck onto their screens, listening and trying to get as much as possible from Dave Whatmore, the legend. And since guys, we are very short of time, so any questions that you have, please feel free to reach out to us on our handles that we have. That's CricKingdom. We have a social media handle there, and you please feel free to put your questions there. Definitely, we'll put across all your questions together to Dave and try and get an answer to that and send it back to you. So this was really a very great session to have, Dave. Thank you everyone for your attention and participation so far. We would now like to take your leave, but before we take your leave, we would definitely want to have our moment with the legendary coach Dave Whatmore. So I would request everybody to please switch on their cameras and have a nice bright smile so that we can have ourselves clicked with Dave. Please, I give you 30 seconds for that. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much. As we draw to a close, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to Mr. Dave Whatmore for gracing us with his invaluable insights and expertise. Your contribution have truly enriched our webinar and inspired us all to strive for excellence in cricket. I would also like to take a moment to express our sincere appreciation to each and every one of you out there for attending today's webinar. Your participation and engagement have truly made this session very memorable. Before we part ways, allow me to briefly touch upon CricKingdom. As a world's premier cricketing platform, CricKingdom is committed to connecting cricket enthusiasts, players, coaches, and facilities in an integrated ecosystem designed to enhance the cricketing experience for us all. With CricKingdom, we aim to eliminate disconnects and inefficiencies while ensuring a seamless and enjoyable journey for every user. To stay updated on the latest happenings and updates about CricKingdom, I encourage you to follow our Instagram and Facebook handles. There you'll find a wealth of information, insights, and highlights that showcase our commitment to advancing cricket on a global scale. I once again thank you, Dave, for your enlightening session. And thank you for all our wonderful audience for your participation. We look forward to seeing you again soon. Until next time, stay connected, stay inspired, and keep playing the game as well, and keep loving the game the way you do. Goodbye and have a wonderful day. Thank you so much.